Hi, this is Leanne at Complete Payroll. Welcome to Payroll Country. In today's video, we're going to take a look at the basic navigation in Evolution Classic software. Beginning from my login, I will enter in my password, and here you can see that you have options to change your password or if you've forgotten your password. So you can simply click on those to make those changes. And I will click on OK, which will take me immediately to my dashboard. Now, when you first log in, you may get this tip of the day. If you don't want to see this window each time that you start up Evolution, you can simply click the checkbox and close, and now that tip will no longer appear every time that you log in. The tips are not gone. You can always access them through the light bulb icon down in the bottom left-hand corner. From my dashboard, we can already see our basic navigation pane on the left-hand side, which we have this series of buttons, which we're going to go through starting at the top. The iSystems button is going to give you an option to see a federal table that just has the limits that are in place annually for different items such as your OASDI taxes and your 401k, maybe your HSA. It's simply there as a resource for you. Under the next button of Admin, if you click on that, you have the ability to make a change to your Workstation Settings. If we click there, the one item is this Always Do Report Preview. When you run a report, you have the option to print or preview. However, the system default is set to print, and you manually have to select preview. If I have this box checked, then the system will default to preview instead of print, and you may choose which reports to print from the preview window in your task queue. The next two buttons that we're going to look at are Client and Company. When I click on Client, I'm given a sub-menu, and I can open up this item, and I'm going to be able to see details, but they are in read only. That means that we can't make any changes as a standard Evolution user. Also in Company, we see the same items where we have a drop-down menu. You may even have another sub-menu. And again, these are all items that are now only going to be read-only. If you need to make changes to any of these areas, just let your customer service rep know, and they will help you get them changed. If you have access to multiple companies, when you are on the Browse tab, you can simply select the company that you want to work in, and then you will see the details for that company. Next, we're going to move to the Employee button to see some of our other navigation tools. When I click on the Employee button, I'm going to select the first item in my menu, Employee. I'm taken to the page where I'm going to be able to do my primary employee maintenance. Now, in Evolution, we have our navigation buttons going down the left-hand side of the screen, and then we have these tabs in most areas going across the top, which will allow us to go into further detail depending on which area of the system we are using. The first tab is almost always this Browse tab, and here we're going to see a list of all of our active employees. The default setting is that employees are in order by their employee code, which is this highlighted first column. If I want to see them in a different order, I can simply click on the heading of the item that I want to sort by. So if I want to see these in order by last name, I'll click on the last name heading, and it will sort them ascending. If I want to see them from the end of the alphabet, I'll click it one more time, and now the end will be at the top. I've mentioned that they are just active employees, as you can see under the status column. If I would like to see the employees that are no longer active, I do have this checkbox at the top here that says Removed EEs. When I click that box, I'm given a message, do I want to clear the filter? I'll select yes, and now I can see all of the employees, including inactive. However, if I check this box once more, so it is unchecked, then my employees are not filtered back to active. To do so, I'm going to use the filter key. This question mark in the grid is my filter, and it will be green when no filter is applied, or red when a filter is applied. You will find this question mark in every grid in Evolution, so if faced with a lot of information to sort, look for your filter. In this grid, I can filter for any of these field names. I want to go ahead and return my grid to active status employees, so I'm going to type in the word active and click OK. And now I have my list back to where it was when I started. To further navigate between employee records, I can use the windows that I see above the tabs. I have an employee number with a drop-down menu, and I can search that way. If I know my employee's number and I just want to type it in, it will take me there. I also have a window with a drop-down for my employee names, and they will be in alphabetical order. If I know the name of the employee I'm looking for, I can start typing in the first few letters of their last name, and the system will filter me to their record. The next tab over here is employee entry, and this will allow me to demonstrate how we make simple changes within the system. So if I want to change this employee's address, perhaps they no longer live here, I can go ahead and just highlight that window and just start typing. The system will automatically capitalize the first letter of each word that I type, but you can also still use your Shift key if you'd like. To save my record, I'm going to click on this green check mark at the top of the screen. If I wanted to cancel that record, I could have used the red X that appeared. To save this further, to commit this to our servers, I'm going to click on the green small check mark. If I want to abort this change completely, I would click on the small X. I'll go ahead and save our change here. To move between my employee records, like I mentioned, we can use these drop-down windows. We also have these navigation buttons for prior and next, which will take me either to the prior record or to the next record in order. Up above, I also have some navigation tools. Just like the navigation pane on the left, you will always have these navigation buttons at the top of the screen, regardless of which area you are in Evolution. The double blue arrows will take me to either the first record or the last record, based on how my grid is sorted. The single yellow arrows will move me one at a time between my employee records. To create a new record, I have this green plus at the top of my screen. If I click on that, it's going to give me a blank page where I can begin to enter in my employee information. I'll go ahead and click on the red X since I'm not entering a new employee right now. If I need to delete a record, I'll click on the red X. However, you're most often going to get this message that you cannot delete an employee because the employee has payroll history. So I'll go ahead and click OK. My next button is the View Field Audit History, and I can click into a window and then click on this button, and it's going to give me a table showing me the history of all the changes that have been made in this field. So you can see here that we have had, as of now, the changes that are current, and then there's also prior changes. Up above in this grid, I can see the user that made the changes and when those changes were made by date and time. And then I'll simply click on the X to close that window. Finally, I have this refresh data key. Now, refresh data is your first defense when you run into a problem. If you're making changes and you end up with an error, you're not sure where you're at, go ahead and click on the refresh. It's going to take you back to the Browse tab of the area that you are working in, and you can continue along. This refresh key is also important if there are multiple users at your company. As you are making changes in Evolution on your workstation, they are not being refreshed into another user who may also be in Evolution unless they click on the refresh button. Finally, the last button here I'll show you is the Go Back. So this is just like you would see in any web browser. So if I click on the backward arrow in this blue circle, it just takes me to the previous record that I was on. I also have the drop-down menu where I can go back to the areas that I have recently visited, and then I also can go forward as well. So this concludes our basic navigation of Evolution Classic software. For demonstrations of other Evolution Classic functions, please see our other videos in our library at CompletePayroll.com. Thank you for joining me and have a great day.